Is it sequel time already? That doesn't really surprise me since the series has done pretty well so far. So far, I have everything scheduled out. So we have this part, part 4, the bonus units, then we get into second gens. And believe me, second gens will be a lot more in-depth, so be ready for that. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Before we get started, if you haven't seen the previous parts, I'll link them down in the description. Unless future me forgets to do that, then just go look them up, I don't know. So with all that out of the way, let's get technical with Fire Emblem Awakening. How about we start off with Seiri? She looks like Yukiko from Persona 4. Seiri's best class is Swordsmaster, with her best skills being LB, All-2, Gale Force, Astra, and Swordfair. I know it's a little surprising that Seiri has access to Gale Force, but it's more than appreciated here. While Astra is one of the worst offensive skills in the game, sadly she doesn't have any better options. Yeah, I said better options. The only real issues I have with Astra is that if you go against a unit with counter, that's an easy unit loss, since all that damage will get reflected back to you. The trigger rate is skill stat divided by 2. It's not as bad as Lethality's skill stat divided by 4, but not all that great either way. But to be fair, you won't really encounter any units with counters, so you should be fairly safe there. And since Seiri will only use swords, I gave her Swordfair. The fair skills give a unit plus 5 strength or magic, and if you give a skill like that to a unit with only one weapon type, it just adds to their overall power. For her weapon layout, I gave her Killing Edge, Brave Sword, Armor Slayer, and Levin Sword. Luckily for us, Swordfair will change the plus 5 strength to plus 5 magic when you equip the Levin Sword, so that'll help boost her magic damage since she caps at 43. Next up is Miriel. Genuinely, I think I'm one of the few Miriel fans in the Fire Emblem community. I mean, I say that, but I'm gonna get a bunch of comments saying, I'm also a Miriel fan. I mean, honestly, I welcome those comments. The world needs more Miriel fans. Anyway, I'm getting off topic now. Miriel's best class is Sage, with her best skills being LB, All-2, Life Taker, Vengeance, and Tome Fair. I know Vengeance and Life Taker are a bit contradictory. Life Taker heals 50% HP every time you kill an enemy, and Vengeance deals more damage with less HP you have. But my train of thought was, since Miriel has such low defense, it's better to keep her HP up as much as possible. Then the Vengeance can be used as more of a defensive skill to get rid of enemies that keep attacking her. Hopefully that makes sense. That's just where my brain was going for her skill set. For her item layout, I gave her Excalibur, Bulganon, Physic, and Recover. Physic heals a distant ally's HP, while Recover fully heals an ally. Since Miriel doesn't have Gale Force or a better offensive skill, I keep her as a healer Sage. In the end, Miriel is a good unit, but she is a bit strange to manage with her available skills. Next up is Riken. Riken's best class is Sage, with his best skills being LB, All-2, Luna, Life Taker, and Tome Fair. Riken is in a similar situation as Miriel, but he has a much better offensive skill. I still gave him Life Takers since the Sage class has pretty bad defense. Gotta keep him alive however we can. For his weapon layout, I gave him Excalibur, Bulganon, Thoron, and Physic. Riken is our first unit that will be an offensive Sage since he has a good offensive skill. Even if he's going to be used offensively, it's still a good idea to make use of a staff since the class allows for it. After Riken is Ana. Why am I missing $20 from my wallet? Ana's best class is Sage. I hope you get used to me saying Sage a lot in this video. The classes are kinda unbalanced in this game. Her best skills are LB, All-2, Life Taker, Lethality, and Tome Fair. Similarly to Miriel, we'll use Ana as a healer type Sage since she doesn't have a good offensive skill or Gale Force for that matter. Her item layout will be Excalibur, Bulganon, Physic, and Recover. Besides all that, there's not much else to comment on about Ana. And where'd my driver's license go? Speaking of thievery, let's talk about Gaius. Gaius' best class is Hero, with his best skills being LB, All-2, Soul, Vantage, and Counter. Gaius ends up being a fairly defensive unit since he doesn't have a lot of offensive skills. I mean, come on, the guy has Soul, Vantage, and Counter. Nothing else screams self-preservation more than that. I gave him Soul since I don't think waiting for Lethality to trigger would be worth it. Vantage is there so he has a chance to activate Soul and recover any lost damage. And I gave him counter since he doesn't really have a good damage dealing skill, but this will be a good way to deal some extra damage. There's honestly not much else to comment on about Gaius. He looks pretty good shirtless though. Unrelated, but look! I got tater tots! I'm working on the video and eating tater tots. I love tater tots. Next up is Libra. Libra's best class is Sage. Wow, how original. His best skills are LB, Ult 2, Life Taker, Tomfer, and Vengeance. He's pretty much the same as Miriel. So, to fill up this time, I'll give you a chance to subscribe to the channel. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I have other stuff like this coming up in the future, and I also just do game reviews and some other goofy, stupid stuff, so stick around for that. My goal currently is to reach 500 subs, so if you could subscribe and help out with that goal, that would be rad. Lastly for today, we have Olivia. Olivia is a little bit tricky since she has two compelling arguments for two of her best classes. But let's talk about both options and see where they take us. Option 1 is Dancer, with her best skills being LB, Ult 2, Gale Force, Vantage, and Special Dance. Olivia doesn't have very good stats as a dancer. Seriously, take a look at these. 39 defense and resistance is pretty bad, and only 40 strength isn't good either. Even with the all stats plus 2, we definitely have some issues. I gave her Vantage to help her survive, and I didn't bother trying to make any offensive skills work since I wanted to focus on defense. But even if her stats aren't that great, her use as a dancer is great. She can allow another unit to have another turn, and with the skill Special Dance gives a unit strength, magic, defense, and resistance plus 2 for one turn. So in that context, Olivia is definitely a useful unit to have. But if you want an Olivia with better stats and is more offensively competent, you can change her to a Swordsmaster. You can then swap out Special Dance with Astra. The activation rate for Astra is skill stat divided by 2, but it's somewhat workable. Both of these builds are good, but it's up to you to figure out which build you think is better and fits your playstyle. Personally, I'd go with a Dancer Olivia, since she can give units another action and give them stat boosts on top of that. But I can 100% understand if you want to use her more offensively. For her weapon layout, I gave her Armor Slayer, Killing Edge, Brave Sword, and Levin Sword. Olivia is sort of complicated, but it all comes down to preference. So, we have another video down. Next we have part 4 and then the bonus units. And then after that we get into the 2nd gen units, which will honestly be a lot of work for me. Because what I plan to do is have 2nd gen guides for both 1st and 2nd gen marriages for both male and female Robin, and switching between a 2nd gen and 1st gen marriage changes pretty much everything. So that will definitely take some time, but I'll start out with a 2nd gen male Robin. Just because I love you guys so much, I'll spoil a 2nd gen male Robin. It's a Crom Cynthia. But anyway, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Like I said in the last 2 videos, if you have any other ideas on like classes or skills, shoot me a DM or leave a comment. I hope you all enjoyed the video. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you all later.